when you listen to the voice of men, sometimes it's very enticing and sometimes it's very appealing, especially to the flesh man, to the body man, to the natural man. I want us to turn in the Bible, in the book of First Kings chapter number 19. The characteristics of the voice of God has one simple character, and I told you yesterday that any time that you want to have the voice of God and also understand the voice of God and also give you the ability and the opportunity to have the understanding, yani kupata nafasi ya kusikiliza sauti ya Mungu, you must first of all train yourself. The first thing that called patience, the another thing is called waiting. And you know, one of the hardest part of humanity is about waiting, because when you wait, there's some things that happens in your life when you wait, and the nature of us, the nature of man, the nature of the characteristics of man in all aspects and the spheres of life, we are not given this. We are not given, because the waiting is the ability that you want to demonstrate from within your heart that will help you to know what is happening. Now, the Bible says, the Bible says in the book of First Kings chapter number 19, because I want to talk to you and I want also to pinpoint out some characteristics of about the voice of God. Sometimes the voice of God may not come as you expect, because remember, when God appeared at the mountain, when the children of Israel insisted with Moses, wakamwambia kwamba tunataka na sisi tuongee na huyo Mungu, wacha kutuelezea juu ya huyo Mungu ambaye sisi hatumjui. We want also to be a participant on that God you are talking about. Moses akamwambia kwamba it's okay, I will invite you, that please prepare yourself, because number one, when you want to listen and hear the voice of God, there must be a proper preparation. Proper preparation gives you the spirit of patience within your heart. It gives you the spirit of waiting within your heart. It gives you the spirit of understanding, because it is one thing that you hear the voice of God, is another thing also to understand the voice of God, and there's also another thing to implement the conditions and the instruction of the voice of God. Now let me read in the book of First King chapter 19. First Kings chapter number 19. Let me start from verses number 8. First Kings chapter number 19. I'm talking about when as Elijah escaped from the hands of Jezebel. Remember that every time you have had a greatest victory in your life, every time that God gives you victory and the greatest victory in your life, you must be very careful, especially the time you are going to join the celebration. Because remember, David, when he killed Goliath, the Bible says, and that time the Bible says, and the women came shouting and celebrating. Remember, these are the voices of men. And you know, when you have done something powerful, and I mean, to you you look like it's powerful, but to God it's not a surprise. He has prepared for it. The way you handle the kind of victory that the Lord has given you, naturally, man within himself and within the intellect of man, he has a capacity in the spirit of accepting the celebration, because natural lifestyle of a man, they love celebration. Man loves to be celebrated. Man loves celebration. Man loves acknowledgement from men. Now, this is Elijah who has already killed the prophets of Baal, and God has shown himself face to face, and he has come down when Elijah asked for a prayer and said, God, if God of Elijah, who answers by fire, let him come down. Can you imagine that kind of victory? Imagine ukisikiliza ushindi kama huo. You cannot escape. You cannot escape naturally the voices of men. I remember when I was in football, and when you are in a football, my friend, when you are in a football team, or when you are in a football, you are a player, every time that, you know, people celebrate strikers, they forget to celebrate the goalkeepers. I mean, people celebrate the striker, celebrate the man who has scored, they forget the central defender, the man who defends against the aggression, against the defeat, because you can still score, but remember the opponent can also score back. But naturally, human beings within their ability, wanadamu katika akili zao wanapenda kucelebrate, wanapenda kucelebrate the one that they want to see that ambaye amefanya kitu. The way the people forget that David not the only one that who killed Goliath. David also was a beneficiary of the men that who have been fighting Goliath for the last 40 years, 40 days, in the field. They had already weakened him. They have already done all many manner of things. But the Bible says women started to celebrate David, and they forget the man who initiated the battle, that was Saul. That's how people usually forget. Now in football, when you score and people, you are carried, when you especially you score the most wanted goal, unajua kuna ile goal inahitajika you that decide whether you are going to the next league, or maybe you are going to win the cup, or you are going to the particular, you are going to another level of a league, if you've ever played football. So okay, score when the most much needed goal at that time, people come to celebrate you, people come to shout and celebrate your life. But now they forget the defender, they forget this, especially the central defender, they forget about the midfielder, we call him the utility player, who supplies the ball everywhere. Actually a utility player, and a supply and a defend, and it does all things. People don't celebrate him, and somehow people don't celebrate the goalkeeper. They can only celebrate the goalkeeper